Good evening and welcome to Roland Cowan Stadium as we commence to bring you the QBL semi-finals. We have an amazing game here tonight between the Gladstone Port City Power and the Southern District's Brisbane Spartans. Both teams coming into tonight's game with amazing quarterfinal wins last week. It's Brisbane Spartans coming in undefeated in the season. They are 18 from 18. Gladstone Port City Power finishing number 5 on the ladder, but having a massive clash last weekend and coming out on top to make their way here tonight. Both games going to be incredible. We've also got up in Townsville at the moment. If you do want to jump over and watch between streams, we do have the Townsville men hosting the Cairns Marlins on a separate stream. John and the boys from Nothing But Net Media are up there as well. My name is Regan Baker. I'll have Dan George with me shortly. We're going to bring you this game here tonight. Looking at the clash, amazing lineups on both sides. We do have Tiani Richardson-Smith for Gladstone coming in, leading the entire QBL in terms of overall points. She comes in averaging 31.5, followed by Cariatiana from the Brisbane Spartans, averaging 20.6. Both teams are really going to be fighting for the game here today. The winner of this will go up against either Logan or Mackay, depending on how that game finishes. That one also starts in around about 5 minutes. So whoever wins here tonight will verse the winner of that game as well next week in a 3-game grand final series. We've done this for a couple of years now. Coming into the finals, we do play 3 games. Absolutely looking forward to how things are going to pan out there. Looking at the game tonight, both teams are shooting incredibly good percentages all around the court. The Brisbane Spartans averaging 34% from 3 and 45% from 2-point land, 73% with the free throws. Looking at Gladstone, they're averaging 47% from the field, 28% from 3, but with a 69% free throw percentage as well. So both teams shooting well all around the court and coming in tonight's game with really great statistics, and both teams very, very strong on the ladder. But it will be a very interesting game as well, because the last time we covered these two teams in, I think it was around about round 5, Gladstone didn't have either of their imports, so that heavily impacted the way the final result went. Brisbane Spartans did come up in that game, but Gladstone not having their imports made a huge difference. So we haven't seen these two teams verse each other with the imports for Gladstone available. So that could make a huge difference. So Gladstone could be the team that puts Brisbane into their first loss, and at a crucial time as well. I'm now joined by Dan George as he shows up for the commentary booth for me tonight. Dan, hitting a bit of traffic on your way here, but always glad to have you by my side. How are you feeling about tonight's game coming into things?
Well, I apologise. Let's blame the traffic. If you're happy to go with that, we can go with that. But I think it's going to be a great game. And, I mean, Brisbane are obviously the favourites going through the season undefeated. They're at home. They've got a great system in place that their coaching staff's implemented. But this Gladstone team's certainly very dangerous, and I think it starts with the 2 imports and then also Purcell in the back court, and I think those 3 primarily will be the drivers. And you would expect them to really push the Spartans, but you would expect Brisbane to come out on top with another win.
Yeah, definitely so, as the Brisbane Spartans get their lineups ready to roll. Now, looking at the game here, so Brisbane Spartans obviously haven't lost a game yet. Do you think Gladstone has what it's going to take to make them have their first loss?
Well, I think any team in any league, in any sport, going through an entire season undefeated is incredibly difficult to do. And so, in a way, you'd almost rather take a loss. And they had a couple of close games towards the end of the season. I think up at the Sunshine Coast Rip, almost picked up a loss there. But you'd almost rather a loss just to break up things and not have a loss come at a bad time. They are by far and away the best team in the league, that's for sure. As I think we have a mum and the mum and the auntie lining up on opposite sides. How beautiful with the little girl on the court. But I think any team to go undefeated is tough, but I think Brisbane do have absolutely what it takes to go through the entire season undefeated. Get a win tonight, 2 wins next week, but Gladstone have no pressure on them. They're on the road, they're not expected to win, and that makes for a really dangerous team.
As we'll quickly take a moment just to pause for a minute's silence as they play the national anthem. And welcome back as we continue to get ready with the last 3 minutes of warm-up before we kick off this semi-final at Roland Cowan Stadium in Carina. We have the Brisbane Spartans taking on the Gladstone Port City Power. Now, last time we covered this game, Dan, Tabitha Richardson-Smith was not present. She was still overseas, I believe. And she's been an absolutely huge impact on the Gladstone teams, averaging 31.5 points per game. How do you think Brisbane are actually going to have to respond in order to keep her out of scoring that many points?
We'll have to go back and check the box score. I reckon she was here. I remember seeing her play, but I think from any team's point of view, it has to be a team effort to get a stop against anyone who's talented enough to put up 30 points across the entire season. But in saying that, they do have some really good one-on-one individual defensive players as well. I think Odette Isaac, very good player defensively, but Arja Parnham, I mean, it's a while since she played at Boston College, but she was all defensive team in the ACC back in her day, playing in the United States. So anyone who's got defensive qualities like that, you would think can handle as well as anyone could, someone like Tabitha Richardson-Smith on her own. But in saying that, I think she's going to go off and have a big night, and it's going to be a matter of making sure the other girls from Gladstone don't beat you if you're Brisbane.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, she's averaging 10.5 points as well, so coming into the game, she will be a hugely impactful player for Gladstone, and Brisbane are going to have to work hard to keep her out of the paint as well as scoring those points, but not to be outdone by Kalani Purcell as well. I mean, in particular, she's done such an amazing job for the Spartans. Defensively in particular, she really does work hard down in the paint, pulling the boards from all over the place. So I think we will have a good matchup in terms of down low in the paint between the two bigs fighting for that rebound and fighting for the ball. But either way, I think the game's going to be a little bit too close to call straight away. Brisbane, I think, may get up by a couple of points, but I don't think it's going to be as blown out as some of the games we've watched Brisbane play.
Well, I think Cassie Rochelle's going to be a really important player as well. And I think last time we watched these girls play here, there was foul trouble and she didn't play a whole lot. If she can stay out of foul trouble and stay on the floor, she's not going to put up 30 points, I wouldn't think, but if she can go and get 13 or 14 boards and change shots and just be a presence defensively in the paint for Gladstone, I think she'll go a long way in causing an upset tonight as well. So we'll see how it plays out, but coming back to the comment earlier, I think Brisbane, top to bottom, are very talented and should win, but Gladstone will make it closer than a lot of people think it will be.
Yeah, definitely. So I think either way it's going to be an amazing game as we start getting ready for the final lineup. Both teams getting ready to come out with their starting five. I'm just waiting for the stats to upload so we can see who is going to take the court first for both teams. But Dan, how do you think the game's going to fall?
Well, I think it's going to be interesting, and the first 2 or 3 minutes are always an interesting sight to see the teams feeling each other out. So we might start a bit scrappy maybe, but I think the girls will settle into their rhythm pretty quickly, and Brisbane will get a win tonight is my tip, but I expect Gladstone to play really well and reward themselves for a great season.
Yeah, definitely. So as we see the starting five coming out on the floor, for the Brisbane Spartans, we have Haynes, Taylor, Allen, Parham, and Purcell. And for Gladstone Port City Power, they're only coming down with a team of 7 tonight. They'll have Mellors, Kirial, Richardson-Smith, Rochelle, and Carleen starting. So they only have 2 subs, so if anything happens like the game we saw last time where Gladstone did get themselves into foul trouble, Gladstone doesn't have a deep bench, so they could find themselves in a lot of trouble if they get themselves racking up the fouls.
Yeah, 7 deep in a final is never a good sign, and I'm not sure why that is. I wonder if they've had injuries to normal girls. You would hope it's not financial restrictions on the club, not being able to bring more than 7. Anytime you've got a playoff game, you'd want them to play big minutes and go deep into the bench of at least 8. But good test for them tonight.
Yeah, as Brisbane Spartans come out firing first up. 2 deep shots. Neither could manage to fall. Gladstone coming down the other end of the court now, managing to find the first bucket of the night. That one goes to number 4, the captain, that is Mellors.
One of the things, sorry Regan, like you saw Gladstone sitting in a zone with only 7 players. I'm sure their coach is going to be concerned about potential fatigue late in the game as well as foul trouble. So you might see them sit in a zone a lot, and that can either really hurt them if Brisbane shoot well, or it could really help them and they could rebound and run out of this all day.
Yeah, definitely. So as we see Kayla Kiriau coming down and scoring another easy bucket on the inside for Gladstone. So they lead 4-0. I think you could be right. I mean, it's it's always up to the offensive team as to how they take the zone. So you see a long shot, step back. That's no good for Spartans. Again, find themselves in a little bit of trouble. Spartans turning the ball over and getting the foul as well. But it will be dependent on how they can actually adapt to that zone, not playing man-on-man defense and putting the pressure on those long shots. They may find themselves not being able to get to the bucket anywhere near as much. They may have to settle for some of those deeper shots. And as we talked about earlier as well, they don't have as good a shooting percentage from out wide.
And that's where I think Rochelle staying out of foul trouble and staying on the floor is really important for Gladstone, simply because if they're in a zone, probably a lot of jump shots going up from Brisbane. If she can pick up 15 boards tonight and anchor the defense, then they're going to look really good all night long.
Spartans with another turnover as Gladstone comes down for an opportunity to make themselves an 8-0 lead. Pull-up jump shot, no good. Spartans now with another opportunity, passing the ball down the court quite fast. Working around the outside, inside jump shot, that bounces out as well. Spartans not able to find their form. Maddie Allen's shot just hits the rim and bounces out. Spartans really struggling early on to actually find any form. I mean, they're 0 from 5 so far. I think they've had the right opportunities. They just don't seem to be getting the fall.
And I don't think Beck or Rob, their coaches, are going to be too concerned at that. When it's 2 or 3 minutes into the game, the first few possessions, it's always a bit of a feeling out process. So offensively, I don't think they'll be too concerned. They will find their rhythm. It's probably more giving up 9 points in 2.5 minutes that would be a bigger concern.
Yeah, definitely so, because I don't think Gladstone's had to work all that hard to get any of their 9 points. They've all fallen quite easily, as we just saw Mellors drain a long 3, fairly undefended as well. So I think that's probably, you're exactly right. Brisbane's biggest problem at the moment is stopping those easy shots. Oh, Maddie Allen had the big turnaround on the inside. She could have gone herself. So we see the corner 3 ball. Sorry, we've got a bit of a bad angle. We couldn't see that one there. But that went to number 20, I believe it was, Aya Praham, with the 3 points, and the first points on the board for the Spartans.
And we spoke earlier in the pre-game about foul trouble or injuries and the fact that there's no depth. Number 4, Mella, I think she's underrated. And if you look at the 2 imports for Gladstone, they get most of the press, but she is so important for them. And I didn't see it, but she must have got an accidental bump or a head clash or something, because she's walking to the locker room. I don't know if she'll need some stitches or not, but there's a lot of blood just coming from her. She looks tough. She's not worried, but there's enough blood to get her out of the game. And if she can't play, or if she misses a significant chunk of this first quarter, that's going to really hurt Gladstone.
Yeah, that'll not be good at all. I mean, that is going to make a big difference down both ends of the court. We do have a timeout on the floor as we just get this blood cleaned up on the floor. So we're going to take a quick break as well. But we'll be back with you shortly for more live action from Roland Cowan Stadium, presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. And welcome back to Roland Cowan Stadium as we continue to bring you the Brisbane Spartans taking on the Gladstone Port City Power in QBL semi-final action. We're going to try and keep you as up-to-date as possible with the out-of-town scoreboard as well. In the other women's semi-final out at Logan Thunder, the Mackay Meteorettes lead 7-5. They were only early in the first quarter as well, about 3 minutes in, same as us, as we continue to bring you some more action.
What a pass.
Great inside action there from Gladstone, just racking up the points nice and easy at the moment.
It's one of the interesting things we look for every week is how do teams respond out of a timeout or out of a break in terms of can they execute, and if their coach draws up a play, they execute beautifully.
Yeah, as we see Beck Haynes take a nice little jump shot of her own. She cuts the lead back down to 6. Deep three-point attempt. No good from Tabitha Richardson-Smith. And like you said earlier as well, Dan, I don't think it's going to be too much of an issue that that Spartans haven't been able to convert on many of their shots. I think that's probably just some semi-final nerves coming into it. They'll find their form. They'll start hitting pretty quickly as long as they keep taking those correct shots.
Well, I like that they didn't call a timeout. They were down 9-0 before Arja hit the corner three. A lot of coaches would have panicked and called a timeout, but I'm happy they just let these girls figure it out and settle into the game, and they will be fine. Offensively, they will be fine against this team. It's a matter of can they stop Gladstone, and if Tabitha Richardson-Smith's going to shoot 40-foot threes like I saw a second ago, if she makes some of them, it could be trouble, but otherwise you'd expect Brisbane's quality to rise up as the game progresses.
Yeah, out of bounds play there. Brisbane Spartans are going to keep the ball. They've only got 7 seconds on the shot clock. A couple of seconds ago, Kariatiana's three-point shot is no good. We'll have 7 seconds on the shot. Let's see what they can pull off here as we get into that the close three-point, which we can't actually see, unfortunately, with where we are. Nice spin move on the inside from Beck Haynes. Just bounces off the back of the rim. Gladstone pulling down a strong board as Richardson-Smith powers down the court, but can't get the good roll and picks up the offensive foul as well. Richardson-Smith gets the offensive foul. It's only her first, so not too much of concern there, Dan, but I think she had the right move coming on the inside. Just unfortunate that defense did actually get into good position.
We haven't seen a lot of this Gladstone team. We saw them once here months and months ago, but we haven't seen enough to know how they play, but they need to be careful getting caught in an up-and-down game like they're playing at the moment. Those quick possessions, there's 2 in a row, a very deep three and then an offensive foul on the next one. I don't think they can run up and down with the Spartans all night long, especially if they've only got 7 players and if one of them's got a couple of stitches, although it looks like she's coming back to the bench now, which is awesome to see.
Yeah, Brisbane Spartans take it down the other end as well, and Kariatiana got another 2-point shot, so the lead down to 4. Gladstone goes strong on the inside, and Kiriau, nice inside finger roll for the bucket, and there'll be a foul called as well going against Beck Haynes from the Spartans. And subs here as well for districts. Kalani Purcell stepping back into the game. And for the Gladstone Port City Power, I believe it's, and I'm sorry, I'm going to pronounce his name wrong. I know it. Moengarau Subritsky. His free throw attempt is good for Kiriau. She extends the lead back out to 7. Spartans with it now. Nice inside drive there. Can't quite find the back of the rim though. Good defensive work from Gladstone. And massive three-point play from Tabitha Richardson-Smith. I don't know how she managed to find nothing but net on that shot. That looked so incredibly rushed. But nonetheless, Kariatiana finding her own form and hitting a 3 down the other end for the Spartans. Not letting anything Gladstone does go unanswered. It's Maddie Allen, perfect defense in underneath, just stopping the easy layup on the inside. Spartans now really starting to find their form and bringing back this Gladstone lead.
Yeah, they are, and Gladstone's played really well so far. Only up 7. You just got to be careful and not let some of these Spartans girls get off offensively, which is easier said than done. There's a lot of quality players out there. There's a bit of contact. You can tell when the finals come around, the intensity just goes up a level, doesn't it? There was a lot of contact, but like it had to be a call, I'm sure, but both girls going for the ball, certainly nothing malicious in it at all, but just 2 competitors going at it.
Yeah, not at all, and that's what we love about semi-final and finals basketball, is that it does get a lot more competitive, it gets a lot more aggressive, and very physical as well, and something that I love about the way the QBL's performing now, and I think having the Brisbane Spartans back in the QBL out of the C will I think has done nothing but good things for the QBL because it's made it a much more physical competition. And seeing women's basketball that is this physical and this strong is great to see.
Oh, absolutely. Every week we see quality teams, most of them well coached, great players.
Nice wing three-point there for Nat Taylor, drawing the lead back down to 6 for Gladstone. As Tabitha Richardson-Smith does her own thing and goes left down the center. Nice little finger roll for 2. She's unstoppable here tonight.
Well, she's hitting the 3-ball like we've seen. Everyone's got to get out on her. Just opens up the drive, and we've seen the last couple of possessions, a couple of fantastic moves going to the rim. Arja's got to be careful not to get teed up here. Not happy, but Gladstone needs to make sure that they lock in defensively. If they can really restrict Brisbane to 17 or 18 points a quarter, and if Tabitha stays hot, they are absolutely a chance. But keeping Brisbane to 17 or 18 points a quarter is something that most teams haven't been able to do all season long.
Yeah, definitely so. As Richardson-Smith steps back for another long 3. That one a little bit too strong, going all the way over. Maddie Allen lucky to keep that one in play for the Spartans. But she does end up turning the ball over. Great defensive effort there coming from Gladstone. Hopefully Rochelle does get the steal stat out of that, because that was great defense on Maddie Allen to get the steal. Looks like Gladstone's not happy with how things are going, so they've taken a timeout. So we're going to take one as well. The score is 13-21. Gladstone in the lead here. We'll be back with you shortly for more live QBL semi-final action presented by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. Back. And welcome back as we continue to bring you the game here. And as promised, just to bring you a bit of an update, we'll have a look at the out-of-town scoreboard as the Mackay Meteorettes have managed to secure themselves an early lead over the Logan Thunder. It is 21-13, so similar to the score that we've got here, actually identical to the score that we've got here. So both games locked at 21-13 apiece at the moment. Both out-of-town teams are up. Gladstone now just under 3 minutes to go, having an amazing first half of the game. Tabitha Richardson-Smith might find herself in double figures early on in this first quarter. She's already sitting on 9. She gets the ball back and just turns it over, can't quite handle the pass and steps out of bounds.
A bit of a miscommunication. She looks like a great teammate in terms of a lot of girls would get angry if a pass isn't on the money or if it's delivered at the wrong time. She didn't. So you can see this Gladstone team, they've obviously done a great job off the court of bringing in some really high quality people, and they've got good chemistry. And that's probably a big reason why they've had such on-court success too. But that chemistry is going to get tested tonight. They're going to have to stay together on the road. Brisbane will make runs.
Yeah, definitely so. They do look like a very tight-knit team. And as you said, it's not often that you see miscommunication like that go unpunished. And the girls were just lovely to each other on the floor. Probably explains why they've had such a successful season as well. Turnaround jump shot right on the buzzer is no good. That one's from Rochelle. Spartans now with it. Deep three-point attempt, also bounced off the front of the rim from Nat Taylor. I don't know who exactly that was supposed to be going to, but turnover there going against Gladstone for Mellors. And Brisbane Spartans managing to capitalise with a nice inside bucket for 2. Lead back down to 4. I think Gladstone are just starting to panic a little bit, it seems. 2 quick miscommunications in a row, leading to 2 turnover and points. Inside, though, down to Carline. She manages to get an easy inside layup as well.
I think Gladstone need to be careful not to fall in love with Tabitha coming down, hitting a quick bucket or getting to the rim and, playing 5 or 6 second offense. I think they need to, if they're going to get a win, really grind it out and make Brisbane play defense for 14 or 15 seconds. And we say that often, but when you're on the road in a playoff against an undefeated team and you only have 6 or 7 players yourself, you can't afford to go up and down all night long. They need to really make Brisbane work defensively.
Yeah, it's Gladstone again, a little bit of miscommunication. Kiriau turning the ball over with a little bit of a wild pass. Rochelle not realizing the ball was coming to her. So we do come down into the final minutes, just under 40 seconds left on the clock, so Spartans won't have the last shot opportunity, but nice inside pass. Maddie Allen's just not able to get the fall. Richardson Smith now gets rejected by Maddie Allen, who'll pick up the block. And Brisbane Spartans turning around and capitalising down the other end. Kalani Purcell with a nice little inside layup for 2. Lead again, back down to 4. Just under 10 seconds to go, so Gladstone will hold to the last shot. Richardson Smith floating jump shot just bounces off the front of the rim, but that does see the end of the first quarter roll around. Dan, what have you thought so far about the first quarter?
Well, you can see the Gladstone supporters standing and applauding their team, and why not? Up 4 on the road against the #1 seed in the league. They've been great, but I just get the feeling Brisbane's feeling more and more comfortable the longer the game goes. And I think Gladstone need to, as they've done most of the quarter, continue to execute and make Brisbane play long defensive possessions. No quick shots. I don't think that will help them, but they look good so far, and Brisbane obviously have had elements where they've shown their class as well. So far, so good. A great quarter of semi-final basketball.
Yeah, definitely so. And that is the first quarter, so we're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back with you shortly for more live QBL semi-final action presented to you by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. And welcome back to Roland Cowan Stadium as we bring you the second quarter. It is 23-19. Gladstone Port City Power currently in the lead. Unfortunately, the live stats are down at the moment. I'll give you the best that I can in terms of where we're standing stats-wise. For Gladstone, Tabitha Richardson-Smith does lead all scorers. She's on 9 points, closely followed by Mellors and Kiriau, both on 5. And for the Brisbane Spartans, it looks like Kariatiana is currently sitting on 9 points, and Nat Taylor is sitting on 5 as well. So we'll try and bring you more stats as we can once live stats comes back online. Dan, what do you think Spartans would have had to talk about in that quarter-time break in order to get themselves back in this game?
Well, I think they would have been talking about themselves more than anything, meaning they obviously know themselves really well and they know each other at this stage in the year well enough to know that they just need to lock in and just continue to play their style of basketball. And if they do that, they'll be fine. But obviously, as they would have known pre-game, Tabitha, the lady with the ball, is going to be a focus point for Gladstone, and they need to make sure they stay locked in on her. I was about to say as well, Rochelle misses the layup. She's had a couple of jump shots rim out, and that's okay because she's got really nice touch, can shoot the jump shot very well, but I think Gladstone needs to find ways to get her looks at the hoop, whether it's offensive boards or pick and rolls or something like they did just there. But if they can get her going on the scoreboard, that'll obviously help.
Yeah, definitely. It seems that every single play has been going through Tabitha Richardson-Smith at the moment, but you're absolutely right. We've seen, from live stats, we've seen Rochelle have some amazing games, and if she can find her form, I think this Gladstone team is going to give Brisbane Spartans some worries.
Well, I think Rochelle needs to go for 15 and 15 tonight. 15 boards, 15 points, and if she can do that, that'll be every chance of winning. If she goes for 6 points and 12 boards, I think it's going to be hard for them to get up.
Yeah, definitely so. As Spartans managed to bring down that lead a little bit as McDowell White goes inside and gets a nice little finger roll. So lead cut down to 2. Tabitha Richardson-Smith is with it. There's 5 seconds left on the shot clock. As Rochelle now takes a little step back jump shot. She finds her form, and that goes good for 2.
That's a tough shot too. Great touch.
Yeah, strongly defended as well. Hand in the face. Just managed to get the ball over the right-hand side. Spartans with an out wide, long 2-point shot. That finds some form.
Yeah, Carly
Curry.
She's the captain of the team, and she has been around the Spartans program for a decade, maybe longer. Just a great veteran, won Siebel titles, captaining a QBL team now, and back-to-back hoops for her.
Yeah, she's definitely been playing for about as long as I was refereeing. Anyway, I think one of my first ever games, Carly Curry was still playing as well. So I remember her from years back. She's been a vital part of this Brisbane Spartans community for a very long time. As we have some subs for the Spartans, as you may have just heard, Odette Isaac is checking in for the first time. Sort of having a little bit of a quiet start to the season, obviously off on maternity leave. But she's had a pretty big season ever since she's come back as well. Not obviously playing a starting 5 position like she's probably used to, but having some amazing form nonetheless.
Sure has.
That's a foul on Ashka
And a very good player. And those kind of girls, or any player, guy or girl, when you've got the experience someone like Odette's got, the regular season doesn't really matter. You just kind of work yourself into form, work yourself back into basketball shape, and then come playoff time, you got the chance to go for 15 or 16 and win a game on your own almost. So watch out for her over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, definitely. So she'll be a big part of the grand final next week if Brisbane Spartans get themselves through. As Tabitha Richardson-Smith, takes a very deep 3 and gets nothing but air.
She needs, her coach needs to reel her in. There's 7 seconds left on the shot clock. They're not going to win if she's going to shoot shots like that.
Yeah, no, it was a little bit of a wild shot, very far deep, and like you said, 7 seconds left on the shot clock. There was plenty of opportunity to find a better option for the Gladstone team.
Well, if there's 2 seconds on the clock, that's a fine shot to take, but 7 seconds, get at the rim, put some pressure on this Spartans defense, get yourself to the foul line.
And she does it again, that time with 16 seconds left on the shot clock and still taking a 3-point shot from probably 3 feet outside the 3.
And she might have 30 points, but if it takes her 35 shots, then I'm not sure that really is as impressive as it sounds.
No, I think she's just trying to do a little bit too much herself. I think the semi-final pressure is getting to Richardson-Smith. She's just trying to do a little bit too much all by herself, and she's just not having trust. But she's got amazing players on the floor, like the likes of Rochelle. And I think they just need that little bit more teamwork, because that's going to be implemental in the Gladstone keeping the lead that they have. Carly Curry fighting her way out of some very strong defensive traffic there for the Spartans. They've got less than 10 on the shot clock. Nice inside spin move. Finds nothing but air though, but still pulled down with the offensive board. 2 seconds on the shot clock for Odette Isaac. Just manages to get it off, but it rims out.
Beck Haynes comes up with a steal with great pressure.
But Beck Haynes getting herself a steal. Long step back 3-point shot for Cariatiana. That goes good for 3 as we see the Brisbane Spartans take the lead for the first time tonight, 26-25.
We'll see what Gladstone go to here, Regan. Brisbane are always going to make runs like every team does. But can they, Gladstone that is, under pressure, Brisbane on a run, and that's what I'm talking about. Get to the paint, get into the lane, put pressure on the defense, get yourself an easier hoop than those long threes. When Brisbane make runs like they've made, that's what you need to go to. Execute, get into the lane, make Brisbane play defense, and maybe get yourself a couple of foul shots while you're at it.
Yeah, and I can't remember 100%, but I think Richardson-Smith has only hit 1 3-point shot tonight. The rest of her 11 points have all been inside, so that's clearly where her form is tonight. Well, I mean, we've seen her miss 3 long ones from memory. But I think they just need to take their time a little bit more and fight their way inside and make the right decision. The last passage of play where she got inside was was perfect. It was amazing offense. So I think they just need to work on what their strengths are, which is getting the ball inside and utilizing the shot clock to their advantage. So we see Odette Isaac pick up her first personal foul as well, sending Gladstone to the line for 2. As Sabritsky takes her 2 shots for the night. The first one is good, second one no good, but manages to pull her own offensive rebound. Gladstone with a second opportunity. Strong defense there, a little bit of contact.
Ugly, oh my goodness, ugly possession. Ugly possession. I think when Tabitha, because she's such a focus point while she's on the floor, handling the ball for a lot of the possession, shooting a high volume of shots, when she's off, maybe Gladstone don't quite know who to put the ball in the hands of. I think they need to look inside to Rochelle down low. They need to get the ball, come maybe through some pick and rolls. I'm going to miss her name. I want to say Purcell, number 4. You'll have to correct me, Regan, but get the ball in the hands of her and let her go to work on the perimeter too. Just create things. Because that last possession did not look good.
Yeah, no, it definitely didn't. And I think Gladstone is starting to panic and stress out a little bit now. They've realized that Tabitha Richardson-Smith is not hitting from deep, and the whole team is a little bit lost, it seems. So they're just starting to lose their form as the score's drawn at 28 apiece. So Brisbane Spartans really capitalizing on these opportunities. They've managed to get quite a few points from turnovers.
Well, I think Tabitha's going to sub back in about 2 seconds' time. She needs to. I think this hopefully was just a quick sub to say, you know, just settle down a little bit and trust your teammates more and maybe take some better quality shots.
Awesome inside work there from Beck Haynes as she takes her own layup and pulls the offensive board as well. But step back 3-point shot, no good from Parham. Brisbane Spartans really not finding a lot of form than the 3-point line at the moment. We've got our live stats back up. They're only shooting 3 from 12, so they're only at 25% from the 3-point line. In fact, neither team shooting all that great. Gladstone, Port City Power coming in 2 from 7 as well from deep. Strong inside play there. That one, it does pick up the foul, so Carline will go to the line for 2.
That foul is called on 24.
So Kalani Purcell picking up her foul, and Coach Lewis just being asked to calm down by the referee. She's starting to get a little bit vocal here on the sidelines as well. Not happy with the way that her team's performing, I don't believe. So just being asked to settle down a little bit.
Well, they've had a few close games recently, Brisbane, but for a large chunk of the season, they were just blowing everybody out. So a tied game, 4 minutes left in the half. It's probably new territory for players and coaches. So I'm sure Beck just wants her team to lock in a little bit and play a bit harder. But I mean, it's an opportunity for them. Tabitha's off the court, like we've just been discussing the whole game, how much of a focus she is. She does have 2 fouls. So maybe they're going to leave her off to preserve that 3rd foul for the 3rd quarter. So if there's a chance for them to go on a run here to close the half, it's right now while Gladstone are a bit undermanned.
Yeah, I think now's the best time for Spartans to capitalise on having Tabitha Richardson-Smith off the court. So they can get themselves a 6-point, 8-point run. I mean, that's going to give them the confidence that they need as well to really start to perform. So we see Maddie Allen check back into the floor as well. Spartans are back up by 1. Gladstone have 12 seconds to take a shot, but they'll take it immediately. Ugly long shot. That one's no good. Mella's shot was rebounded defensively, though, as she takes another shot that's just way too strong, going all the way over the bucket. As Maddie Allen gets fouled from behind. That one's going to go against Rochelle, so that'll be her first personal foul as well. I think you're right as well, Dan. I'm starting to worry about Gladstone's performance. Without having Tabitha Richardson-Smith really on fire tonight and having her subbed off the court as well, we just see her come back on now. Gladstone looks lost. They don't seem to have any structure. They're taking rush shots at the moment. They're not converting anywhere near as quickly as what they were in that first quarter.
It's 2 fouls in this 10-second possession for Cassie Rochelle, which is bad news. That's 2 for her. She cannot pick up any more this half. That would be disaster. And I don't know what they were doing on that out-of-bounds play. I'm glad she made that bucket because you would hope she was going to pass to her younger teammate. It's one thing for Tabitha to get buckets, but how many players are you making better? You'd love to see her reward her younger teammate for running the lane and get an assist or two. That would be great to see. But you're right, Regan, back to your point a second ago, Gladstone don't seem to execute too well. I think a team that's going to beat Brisbane has to come out and lock in defensively as well, but offensively know exactly what they're going to run, what sets they're going to go to.
Well, as we look at that passage of play there, we've got 4 players over the far side of the court. Rochelle was only, maybe a metre or so on this side of the court, but there was no real movement. The girls weren't cutting, they weren't shifting.
You can't tell what offense they're running, though, which is a problem.
Yeah, I think it almost seems as though they have relied a little bit too heavily in Richardson Smith, and now that she's not performing as well as what she probably has in the past, they're just a little bit confused about what they're running. They're just expecting her to be able to convert points and get them into the lead, but it's just not working for them at the moment. As Brisbane Spartans find their way into foul trouble, so Carline's going to walk down the other end of the floor to take 2 free throws. So while they're doing that, we'll take another look at the out-of-town scoreboard as Mackay continues their dominating lead over the Logan Thunder. They're leading 40-28. So quite a strong lead there for Mackay. And as we commented last week as well, we really did think that if anyone is going to be able to take it to the grand finals and put Logan out, it was going to be Mackay.
Well, the Spartans-Mackay matchup's probably what most people would have been expecting all season long. And if we get that in a best-of-3 next weekend, we are in for a treat.
We see another foul and a little bit more blood pouring onto the court as well. So we may have to take another break. Not sure whether it's gone onto the floor or not, but there is a little bit of blood as we see the substitute there for Gladstone. Not sure who it is this time.
It's the same, exactly the same player, same cut. Izzy Tueta from the USC Rip. Sending in the live stream requests. Former Spartans player.
Former Spartans player yourself, Dan.
That is true. Had some good years here.
And so as we look at the men's stream as well, so in case you haven't realized as well, guys, we do have the 2 streams going on tonight. So if you do want to tune in to both streams, Cairns Marlins are at Townsville Stadium at the moment, and Townsville do have themselves a little bit of a comfortable lead coming into the second quarter. They're up 25-12, so that too another awesome game that's being played here tonight. And Mackay versus Rocky will start in around about 25 minutes time as well. We don't have that coverage, but you will be able to log on and see the live stats for that semi-final as well. So a lot of awesome basketball action happening in Queensland tonight. But 32-30 is the score here. Gladstone does manage to maintain their lead, but the Brisbane Spartans are quite rapidly fighting their way back into this game.
Well, if you had told Gladstone pre-game you'd go into the half, and 2 minutes is a long time, so let's not jump to conclusions, but if you told them you'd go to the half about equal, maybe up 2 or 3 points, they would have taken that for sure. And I think they've shown enough tonight that they can hang with Brisbane, and I don't think Brisbane's shown that much that's going to really concern them going into the halftime break. So good signs for Gladstone, but you get the feeling Brisbane is just kind of cruising and just waiting for them to go up a gear. But this zone from Gladstone, while it's not very aggressive, does mean that Brisbane's not running their usual sets, which maybe is part of the reason they're struggling to score a little bit.
And we've seen a lot of games recently as well in terms of following the stats where the Brisbane Spartans have gone into halftime either losing or, very only winning by a small margin against some of their opponents. But they just have such a strong second half, and I don't think a lot of teams have the stamina that Spartans do. I mean, I think it was 2 weekends ago, Southwest Metro came here to verse the Brisbane Spartans, and Southwest was winning leading into halftime, But very rapidly, that ended up becoming a 30-point victory for the Spartans. So they've got the stamina to go all the way. And with a team that's only 7 deep, I don't know whether Gladstone's going to be able to keep up with them for long into the second.
Well, Brisbane are just so deep as well. That's one of their main strengths. Look at their bench. 2 or 3 girls over there would be starting on almost every other QBL program.
Beck Haynes, nice deep shot there. That's bringing the score back down to 34 all. So I managed to find my own words. Tabitha Richardson-Smith taking things slow for Gladstone as we just clock in under the minute to go before half-time.
I like this pace much better for Gladstone. This is, like, they didn't score, but that's a much better possession. Use the clock, get the ball through your hands, get other people involved. I think they look better when they play like that.
It's Kylie Curry, a little bit too strong, just bouncing it off the backboard. But I think you're exactly right, and especially with a team that does only have 2 subs. So most of the starting 5 are probably going to play 35, 36 minutes in the game, if not all 40. The girls need to slow things down a little bit and just focus on their own offense, because if they just keep running and gunning, they're going to find themselves with no legs in the 4th quarter. See, Jess McDowell-White's 3-point shot bounces out, but District's coming down with the O board. Beck Haynes again, just bouncing the ball out, but Maddie Allen will get fouled on the putback, so she'll go to the line for 2.
You can see Cassie Rochelle nervous to pick up a 3rd foul, so just being a little bit passive defensively. She has to be. She has to stay on the floor, but that allows Brisbane to go in and just crush the glass. And if Gladstone are going to give up 1, but especially 2 O boards, they're going to have a hard time hanging with this Spartans team. Just too many possessions for Brisbane.
Maddie Allen can't find the back of the net for the first free throw. I'm just trying to find the live stats as we speak in terms of that Brisbane Gladstone game we did cover last time, because that was quite a shocking game from memory. There were a lot of fouls called, and I think most of the Gladstone team ended up getting fouled out.
I think Rochelle's got to make that. That's an N1. I'm going to have a guess and say Rochelle played 22 minutes, fouled out. Tabitha played 25 minutes, fouled out. That's what I'm going to guess happened. What did happen?
So Tabitha Richardson-Smith played 33.5 minutes. She actually didn't foul out. She ended up on 4 fouls.
I'm wrong.
Kiriau fouled out with 32 minutes played. Rochelle fouled out with 23 minutes played. And
they shot 30% from the field that day too, Regan. You can see Tabitha had 24 points, but on 31 shots, and that's the danger if she's going to come down jacking, 25-foot jump shots tonight. They've got to play within the system, execute and get quality looks. They can't shoot 30% and expect to come anywhere close.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they were only playing 8 deep last time these 2 teams met as well. And of a team 8 deep, 3 fouled out, and Tabitha Richardson-Smith had 4. So Gladstone almost ended up finishing the game with 4 fouls. So it was a little bit of a disappointing meet last time we were here. And I know we were a little bit disappointed about the call. But as we come into the halftime break, it is 35 all. So Brisbane Spartans did manage to fight their way back into the game here, drawing things at halftime. I think what we've said is exactly right. It's going to be a matter of if Gladstone can keep their legs in the second half, because they only have 2 substitutes on the bench, and it's not a deep bench either. So if they can manage to find their legs and find their offensive form, I think it's going to be tough for them to keep this Brisbane Spartans team from racking up 40 or 50 points in the second half.
I agree. I think one of their best defenses is their offense, meaning just playing under control, system basketball, but great half. Going into the break even, they've got to be happy with where they're at. And Brisbane, I reckon, feel pretty comfortable too.
Yeah, definitely so. So it is half-time. We do have a little bit of a break now, but we will continue to bring you more live action from Roland Cowan Stadium shortly. So don't go too far. We'll be back in about 10 minutes with some stats. Hopefully they're back up and running again. But please stick around, go and grab a drink, or tune in to the men's stream. The Cairns Marlins being hosted by Townsville in the men's semi-final action as well. But we'll be back shortly with more live QBL semi-final action presented by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. And welcome back to Roland Cowan Stadium as we continue to bring you the second half of the QBL semi-final between the Brisbane Spartans and the Gladstone Port City Power. We are currently locked at 35 apiece, both teams having an amazing first half, but Gladstone really starting to struggle towards the end there. Dan, you've got the stats in front of you. Do you want to roll us through those quickly?
Well, the box score only shows so much, and I mean, just going off the eye test, both teams probably are coming out confident. I think Gladstone feel like they're right there, and Brisbane, I'm sure, feel like they're going to go on a roll here to start the third quarter. But from Gladstone's point of view, the things that stand out on the box score to me, a couple of things. They're -6 on the rebound count. They need to control the boards, especially on the offensive end. Brisbane have got 15 offensive rebounds, been doing an awesome job crashing the glass, and that just gets them extra possessions. And as a result, Brisbane have had 46 shots, Gladstone have had 36. So that's a problem that Gladstone need to rectify. And like, I'm just going to look directly at Cassie Rochelle and say, you know, I think she played at Wisconsin, which is a big school in the States and an important. She seems like a lovely person, just watching her interact with her teammates. But you need to step up and go and get us, 15 balls tonight, and you've got 4 at the half. So it's a team effort, but you need those bigs to step up and rebound the ball. Equally, Tabitha's 7 of 17 from downtown, from the field, 1 of 5 from downtown. And as a team, they've only taken 9 foul shots. So there's a few things Gladstone can say, girls, we're right there. If we can just tidy up these few things, rebounding especially, then we're a good chance tonight. From the Spartans' point of view, like I said, they're winning the rebound count. They've only got 7 turnovers, which they're pretty happy with, I'm sure. They've got a fairly even spread of shooters. Most of their main players have had, 7 or 8 looks at the hoop, so I'm sure they feel pretty good where they're at, but they're only shooting 32% from the field. So I'm sure that they would have been in the halftime break just saying, girls, keep running your stuff, keep shooting the ball. We're not going to shoot 30% for the game. The shots will start falling. When they do, watch out.
And I think one of the biggest things that stands out to me to the statistics is Southern District Spartans have 24 points from the bench versus 1 from Gladstone. And I think that's going to be telling of this second half is because, as you said, most of the players sitting on the Brisbane Spartans bench could be starting 5 players in other clubs. You've got the likes of Odette Isaac, who's just an amazing player as well. Jess McDowell-White, superstar young kid. I think she's only about 17 years of age, but an amazing player coming through. You've got all these girls, and especially Cariatiana as well. 12 points off the bench, only playing 12 minutes. Spartans are deep, and Gladstone only having 2 players on the bench. I think they're really going to start to struggle if they don't find their legs, especially if the likes of Tabitha Richardson-Smith and Rochelle keep themselves in foul trouble. I think that's going to cause a bit of an issue because their bench players aren't as high quality as what they would probably need if they run into foul trouble.
And I think that's a concern in the first 15 weeks of the season, but in finals basketball, you need your main players to step up if you're going to win a title. And so if I'm Gladstone, like, Brisbane's strength is their depth. Gladstone's strength is not their depth. They don't have as many players or as arguably the quality of bench that Brisbane do. That's okay, though. As long as every girl knows to run the system, to play their role. If you're not going to score 10 points tonight, but you set 3 or 4 back screens, you're going to get 5 or 6 rebounds and play great defense, you have absolutely done your job. And if they can get good quality shots for the 2 Americans as well as Mellors, I think those are the 3. And they can get good looks, so they're not shooting 9 of 21. They're shooting 13 of 18. They're going to look all right.
Yeah, definitely so. And I think Brisbane Spartans just need to continue shooting the way that they have been and just looking for those open opportunities. They've only managed to score 8 points in the paint out of 35, so they're not shooting a lot inside. Most of their shots are coming from a little bit deeper. Whereas with your Gladstone, for example, they've got 20 points in the paint, so they really are going to town on the inside and finding their way through the Spartans' defense. So I think that is telling of what Gladstone advantages are, is they do have a very strong defensive team. And this zone in particular has been working really well for them in preventing Brisbane from getting to the inside.
It's funny, Gladstone had the lead for almost 18 minutes of the first half. Let's see how many minutes of the second half they can replicate that for.
Definitely so, and Gladstone does have the ball to kick off the second half, as straight away they managed to penetrate through the Spartans defense, and Kiriau finds her way to the bucket. And again, I think that's been the Brisbane Spartans' biggest letdown is their defense. Too many times, Gladstone is actually just breaking their defense and getting to the inside for those easy layups, whereas Gladstone D is nothing like that. They're really uptight and preventing Spartans, and they have to take long shots like that, which amazing shot yet again from Caratiana, but Spartans are having to take those long shots because they can't break the Gladstone D.
Interesting too. I think like Carly Curry's starting here. I think Nat Taylor is the starter that's coming off the bench in the second half. Maybe that's for defense. Maybe Carly Curry, really fit, really strong player. Maybe she's out there to guard Tabitha. We'll see.
It's Tabitha Richardson-Smith's long shot. It doesn't manage to find the net.
Cassie Rochelle has got to shoot the ball. Late in the shot clock, you've got her in the post. Go to work. Take a little crab dribble down and hook shot, turn around, jump shot. But look at the rim.
She's taken 4 shots, and that's it.
It's not enough.
So you would expect a lot more. You would expect a lot more from her, especially when she's been averaging 16, just over 16 points a game as well. So for her to have only taken 4 shots in one half of basketball is not enough. I think Gladstone needs to work a little bit harder to get the ball in her hands a little bit more. As we see Brisbane Spartans just taking the lead there. Sorry we didn't get commentated, but there was a nice little 2-point bucket on the inside. So Spartans have extended their lead out, and Parham will go to the line for an extra 1. And it's starting to get into that concerning area for Gladstone as well, because that was Alicia Carline's 3rd personal foul too. Made it look way too easy. Kariatiana's free throw goes in. 40-37. Spartans have managed to find their way back into the lead. Richardson-Smith goes to work. Nice inside pass to Rochelle, but her ball got deflected by Spartans, the referees are going to say. So they'll get the ball back on the baseline with 10 seconds on the shot clock. I don't think Spartans were too happy about that. I'm not too sure whether it did hit a finger or not, but
no.
That's what they've gone with. But it turns over straight away, and Beck Hain gets the steal.
There's a few concerns for Gladstone. Cassie Rochelle's holding her leg. I don't know if she's holding a muscle, like she got a cork or a Charlie horse for those American viewers, or if she banged her knee. I don't know, but obviously if she's hindered at all, they're in trouble. Just defensively, she's such a big presence for them.
Yeah, as we see the referees actually tending to her just to see how she's going. It does look as though it's something in her upper left thigh. She does seem to be having a little bit of difficulty with it as well. So Gladstone picking up 2 quick fouls early on. Kariatiana taking a long 3-point shot, but that's no good as Rochelle really is struggling out on the floor. You can sort of see the look of pain on her face as she tries to run down the floor.
Yeah, she looks like she has tears, actually.
Oh, that probably wouldn't have helped either. Carly Curry just falling straight into her leg.
Injury aside, there's some danger signs for Gladstone. They're just not really running any type of system out there, and they need to if they're going to keep the Spartans' offense under control. 35 all at the half, a couple of foul shots to come. That's really a 7-2 run to start the quarter. And like you said, Regan, so many third quarters this year have just been dominated by the Spartans. Some dangerous signs. So you can see Ray Cooper, Coach Coop's taking some time, hopefully just to make sure that Cassie can get some rest first of all and get a 10-2, but also so they can talk about what kind of offense do we want to run here and how are we going to get some good-looking shots for our players.
Yeah, I don't think it would be surprising if we see the timeout coming back and with Rochelle sitting on the bench for a little bit, just to give that thigh a bit of a rest, because she does look like she's in a lot of pain. But it hasn't been a great start for Gladstone. It's been a straight-up turnaround into the favour of the Brisbane Spartans. And I know I keep coming back to this point, but it just looks as though that Gladstone doesn't have enough offense in mind. They're just kind of running and gunning and seeing what opens up as time tells. They don't run down the court. You don't see any fist sets or anything sort of happening, or one sets. Whatever it may be, they're kind of just running and gunning and just seeing what opens up, and you can't do that in semi-finals basketball.
Well, not against this Brisbane team. If you're the second seed and match-up wise, it's fairly close maybe, but you're playing against a 1 seed that hasn't lost a game all year. You've got to grind them out. And you need a bit of luck, and your luck so far is that Brisbane is shooting 32%. That's not going to happen every week, so here's an opportunity to grind it out. They're struggling to score. This is a chance for Gladstone, but if they just play up-tempo, loosey-goosey type of offense, I don't think it's going to go their way.
No, definitely not. And I mean, looking forward as well, if the Brisbane Spartans do come away with the win here tonight, I think Mackay may give them a very, very strong run for their money next week as well. As we do quickly look at that out-of-town scoreboard, they are leading 53-37 over the Logan Thunder. So it does look as though that one's going to go in the way of Mackay. But if Brisbane Spartans continue to start off as slow as they sort of did here tonight, I mean, Mackay could put them away in the finals.
Oh, it'll be a great matchup, and like finals basketball is all about matchups, and it's interesting. Brisbane is so deep, and look at Arja going to work. Probably wanted a bit of contact too, maybe on that call, but the Mackay team, like their front court, Nadine Payne, Willie, Pelvas in the 3 spot, they have got fantastic front court players. So it'd be a great matchup to watch, and Brisbane would still be the favourites, undefeated at home. They're the team to beat, but that would be great basketball to watch.
Yeah, definitely. So I can't wait to cover whatever grand final we do get next week. It's going to be amazing nonetheless, but it does look as though at the moment Logan is struggling to find form, especially without some of their lead players going into that semi-final tonight. They're pulling things back onto the game here. Gladstone is starting to find themselves in a little bit of foul trouble as well. They're going 0 and 4, just picking up a couple of quick ones early on. It's only 2.5 minutes in and they're already in foul trouble. So we see Beck Haynes take a step back jump shot. That bounces out. And I think Gladstone got very, very lucky with that one. They would maintain possession, but I think that was quite clearly off Gladstone myself. But they will get lucky. They'll have the possession here, and hopefully they can make something of it. So just starting to slow things down a little bit. They're down to 10 seconds
Much
left.
better offense from Gladstone. That's what they need to go back to, structured basketball. Great stuff.
Yeah, that was much better from what we've seen from them for the last couple of minutes in this second half in particular. But that's what they need to do. They need to actually just slow things down a little bit, not run and gun and rush and make silly decisions. They just need to do their own thing.
That's such a soft call. Arja wasn't really obstructed, passed it out. That's a costly 3rd foul on Cassie Rochelle.
Yeah, that's a very, very tough call, especially when it's the 5th team foul. It's Cassie Rochelle's 3rd team foul, and the pass was made as well. So it wasn't like it actually impacted the play. The ball went straight out to an open 3-point shot. So realistically, I think that's the kind of decision where, you know, speaking as a referee myself, I think we get a little bit caught up in the action sometimes as well. We see the contact and we immediately think we have to make the call. But those are the tough ones where we just need to be able to hold off a little bit just to see where the actual advantage lies. Because it's kind of a double disadvantage to Gladstone on that particular case, and I don't think we needed that foul. That being said, both free throws were made, so it's 44-39. Brisbane Spartans are back out to a 5-point lead.
Oh my goodness.
Right idea by Cassie Rochelle. Couldn't just execute. Unfortunately, just a little bit too strong as Beck Haynes goes inside and again just bounces off. Haynes sort of struggling here tonight. She hasn't been getting a lot of those lucky falls. They just seem to be rolling out for her.
Yeah, a really good player, and like we said, Brisbane as a team are not shooting that well, which obviously means individually they're not shooting that well. That's not going to continue. Their offensive system that Shibes, Rob, the assistant coach, and Becca put in place is too good, and their quality of player is too good for them not to shoot well all game. But in a way, if they can get a win tonight not shooting well, that bodes well for next week because they're just too good of a team to shoot poorly 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, as we just see Nat Taylor picking up her 2nd personal foul as well. And she'll send Kiri out to the line for 2. First, a little bit too soft, just hitting the front of the rim. Second one more like it. That goes in. 44-40. Brisbane Spartans still in the lead. Gladstone sort of struggling from the free throw line tonight. They had a fairly good percentage coming into the game, but I think that makes them 6 from 11. I hope this one's not on Cassie Rochelle. It's not. So that goes against Mellors. So that's her 2nd personal foul. I think Cassie Rochelle did look a little bit worried for 2 seconds there. She was right in amongst the action. That would have been a very, very unfortunate and game-changing 4th foul if it was. Arja Parham going 2 from 2, extending the lead back out to 6. Gladstone really need to find some form here. They, as we sort of said, you know, Brisbane Spartans do have that very, very strong second half. They're starting to take things away from Gladstone. They're getting themselves up by 6. Gladstone only scoring 5 points so far in the quarter.
And you can see, well, two things. Arja's foul shots are as pure as shot as you'll see. I don't know how many foul shots she's missed on the season, but defensively, she's picking up Tabitha almost full court. You can see it again here, putting a lot of pressure on, just making it hard for her to even get a catch. And that's okay. That means Gladstone's got to work a bit harder and a bit smarter to get her open shots. They can't rely on her just going one out anymore. So let's see what adjustments Gladstone make offensively and what offense they run to get Tabitha going, because they need her to get going if they're going to win this game.
And even still, we do sort of see Gladstone, there's no movement. Cassie Rochelle's been standing over in the far 3-point as Richardson Smith makes a, I'm going to say, lucky 3-point shot, because there was
that was lucky. Yeah, you can say that.
Because there was just no offensive play there. I mean, Cassie Rochelle stood over in the far side
of
the far side of the court for probably 5 to 10 seconds, not moving at all. And the other girls just sort of positioned themselves around the court. And again, there was just no movement. There's no offense from Gladstone. I mean, they can't count on those lucky Richardson Smith 3 points all night. As Nat Taylor comes down the other end and picks up a foul on the rebound as well. Only 2 team fouls from them so far, so not finding themselves in too much concern. As we see Carly Curry check back in as Arja Prahan takes her break. And just quickly with the update as well, 3 minutes to go in the third quarter. Mackay Meteorettes are still leading Logan Thunder 63-47. So there's a 16-point lead up there with just over a quarter and a little bit to go. Cassie Rochelle with it now. Nice little handoff as Mellors goes inside for 2. That's a much better structured play from Gladstone.
Yeah, it sure is. Much better offense, and it's good that they don't feel the need to go to Tabitha every single possession. Well, she's got some active hands defensively too.
Unlucky inside play there from Richardson Smith as she sort of asks for the foul but quickly takes the no and walks away. I mean, that's great sportsmanship as well from Richardson Smith. They did knock the ball out of court, so they brought it back down to a 1-point lead. Brisbane Spartans with it now. You see Odette Isaac also checked back into the game a couple of seconds ago. As Maddie Allen just sings home a nice little floater for 2.
Spartans out by 3. Kalani Purcell comes up with that defensive board.
And turnover there for Spartans, giving Gladstone a little bit of a second win as they go to the bench to make a couple of subs. Alicia Carline checking back in. And Charmian Mellors also checking back in.
If I'm Gladstone, I'm going straight to Tabitha Smith here. Richardson Smith, excuse me, with Arja stepping out. She's been picking her up 94 feet. She's now got a different defender who's maybe not as good defensively as Arja is. There's a chance for her to get going.
Nice inside drive there for Kiri.
Oh, nice up and under.
Picking
Nice
the
move.
block. But amazing offensive play there on the turnover for Gladstone, putting the 2 points away. So back down to a 1-point lead here for Brisbane Spartans. Gladstone really coming into form in the last minute or so. You see a long 3-point shot from Cariadiana, just doesn't quite fall home.
Charmian Mellors pushes his little sister out of court. Kalani will go to the free throw line.
As Charmian Mellors picks up her 3rd personal foul as well. So a couple of the Gladstone girls starting to find themselves on 3 fouls. Charmian Mellors, Cassie Rochelle, and Alicia Carline all sitting on 3. About 3 minutes to go in the third.
Second one's good. Spartans lead by 2.
The Spartans find themselves back up by 2 points. And I'd heard the local commentator say that Charmian Mellors is Kalani Purcell's older sister.
Oh, yeah, you can see on the box score, Nate Purcell. That's why I was calling her Purcell in the pregame. I didn't know her married name. So you got Nat Taylor, Kailani Purcell, and also Shamia Purcell. Now Mella's on the floor. What a sporting family.
I didn't think I know that there was an older sister in the family. I mean, I've been following Nat Taylor and Kailani Purcell for quite some time now in the QBL. I didn't think I knew that there was an older sibling. There you go. Yeah, an amazing, amazing sporting family, all three of them. So just under 3 to go. Brisbane Spartans back with it now. They only lead by 2, so Gladstone starting to fight their way back into things here. It's been a 14-12 quarter. Brisbane Spartans just in the lead for the quarter as well. As they start to rush things around, pass the ball around the outside. Kailani Purcell's long jump shot's no good, but Cassie Rochelle coming down with a strong rebound and unfortunately going to the jump ball decision.
There's a lot of contact. And what happens, I'll speak as a big, and I'm sitting next to an official, but when there's a lot of contact like that and you get knocked down and there's no call, the next time she'll chin the ball, she'll throw an elbow, she'll hit some little guard in the face, and then she'll get called for a foul. But really, that happens because you don't protect the bigger player.
Yeah, I think it's a really tough situation that as well. I think in that particular instance, I think the referee was a little bit too close to the baseline. She wasn't out wide enough and couldn't see the whole perspective. So from where she was standing, she only would have seen the two girls grab the ball. She wouldn't have seen the body contact and what actually came after the girls grabbing the ball. And if there was body contact that knocked her over, she probably didn't see it, and that's why there was no call. But you're absolutely right. That's the thing you worry about. As a big getting knocked over, your immediate reaction is that you want to push back. And that's when things start to get out of hand and where we start getting into unsportsmanlike territory, which no one wants to see. You see a couple of quick passages of play here. Brisbane Spartans getting themselves back up by 4. Unfortunately, turnover there for Spartans. Cariatiana couldn't quite get her hands on it, and the Gladstone Port City Power capitalise on the inside, getting a nice open bucket for 2.
Just sitting here watching, and maybe we're biased because we know the season record and the fact Brisbane have been crushing everybody, but you just get the feeling that it's dangerous for Gladstone to be hanging around like they are. Brisbane, you would have thought, would have put them away by now, and Gladstone haven't played that well, really. But those sort of shots certainly help the Spartans.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, especially after the way that Gladstone played that second quarter. They got themselves a nice lead early on, but just started to slow down the enthusiasm, start missing and not capitalising on some open opportunities.
Well, I am stunned that she continues to take that sort of three-point shot. Her teammates must really dislike playing with her when that happens. It just amazes me that that hasn't been talked out at this point in the season, that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, especially when it comes to semi-finals basketball as well, because that kind of shot doesn't have a place in these games. As Kailani Purcell goes to the bucket and gets the 2. Tabitha Richardson-Smith not happy with the call, but I mean, that was a blatant grab around the side on the arm, so that'll be her 3rd personal foul as well.
Well, it was the right call, no doubt. What I think she thought she was trying to get was a foul on the ground before the shot, but that was obviously in a continuation.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the kind of game that we expected to see from Spartans a little bit earlier on in the quarter as well. So they've got themselves out to an 8-point lead at the moment. And I think you're right. I think it is dangerous that Gladstone is still sticking around. They're going to come into this 4th quarter only a couple of points behind. And I think that's going to give them a confidence boost and just really egg them on for this 4th quarter. I think Gladstone's going to stick it around until the last minute of the game.
Well, they're going to go into the break with a couple of fast shots. Should she make this, and let's pretend that there's no other buckets, they're going to go in down 8. But if you look at it, they can either say, oh, great, we're playing the top team and we're only down 8 at 3/4 time. Geez, we're doing well. Or they could say, yeah, we're doing okay, but when you shoot 40-foot uncontested threes with 20 seconds on the shot clock, down 8's one thing, but you should be equal or even slightly ahead if you had have executed a bit better. So they can't be happy with a moral victory at this stage in the game. They've got to look at it as if this is winnable.
Yeah, well, definitely so. And I think they could quite easily come back and capitalise on the win as well. I mean, so Tabitha Richardson-Smith made both free throws, so it's going to be 6 points going into the quarter, I think. Just suggesting if Spartans don't capitalise on the play here, they'll go down 6 into the 4th quarter. They I think Spartans would have expected they would be up by a lot more by now, so they're going to come in a little bit hesitant into the fourth, and Gladstone's going to come in with a lot of confidence as time does expire and there is no bucket, so it is 6 points. I think it is. It's going to come into a mental state of play now because Gladstone are going to be full of confidence. I think Spartans are going to be a bit worried.
I agree. I don't think Brisbane would have expected it to be this close, especially when you look at the result from a few months ago on this floor, 40-point victors. But we'll see. Brisbane still are the quality team, and we would still expect them to get the win, but they don't want to let Gladstone hang around. If it's close with 3 or 4 minutes left, anything can happen. You don't want to take those chances.
Not at all. So 57-51, it is at three-quarter time going into the break. So we're going to take a quick rest. But quickly before we go, we'll give you the out-of-bound update. It is 65-52. Mackay Meteorettes still holding their lead over Logan out at Logan Stadium. So we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with you shortly for more live QBL semi-final action presented by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. And welcome back to Roland Cowan Stadium as we bring you the last quarter of the QBL Women's Semi-Final between Gladstone Port City Power and the Brisbane Spartans. Just again, looking at the out-of-town scoreboard, we'll give you a quick update on the men's games as well. If you haven't already checked in, do jump on and have a look at the men's game as well as ours. The Cairns Marlins, 3 points behind the Townsville Heat, 60-57. They're about to start their fourth quarter as well. And the game in Mackay versus Rockhampton has also commenced. Rocky leading 26-21. That game just starting to kick off as well. So there's a lot of close action all around the country at the moment as we speak. And we have a close game here ourselves, 57-51. 6-point lead at the moment for the Brisbane Spartans, but I think we're going to see the Gladstone Port City Power come out absolutely firing. So back on the floor, the Spartans do kick off to start. See a long three-point shot straight away, get absolutely drained by Cariatiana. I can almost let the local commentators do their job for me, as what an absolutely awesome way to start the fourth quarter, extending the lead out to 9 straight away. Inside play, not good for Carline. Spartans now with a chance to extend the lead even further. Cariatiana going to go for another long three. That just hits the front of the rim and bounces out. Richardson Smith getting fouled on the rebound. That going against Aya Paham. Richardson Smith goes to work on the inside. Nice, easy little bucket there for her. I think
she might take some bad shots, but she is a very talented player. Maybe that's why no one yells at her, because she is a very talented scorer.
Oh, she absolutely is. I think her shot selection is probably one of the big things that needs to be fine-tuned, because she's taken a lot of silly and rush shots in the game tonight. If she had a little bit more, I guess, trust in her teammates and pass the ball around a little bit more, knowing that she's going to get it back when she's in a better position, it'd be a much better game. Like that shot there, you've got 16 seconds left on the shot clock. You're 3 foot back from the three-point line. You don't need to take that. Dish out to a teammate. You know,
that's coaching as well. Like at this stage in the season, by the time you get to a semi-final, you play the way you play. But she needs to know team basketball, but also individually that. Yeah, get myself to the line, and as a scorer, as she gets one there to the hoop and one, like as a scorer, if you can go and get yourself 10, 11 foul shots a night, we've only got to score 5 more times and it's 20 points for the game. Like it's not that hard to put up numbers. So shooting 20% three-point shots or get into the line, stopping the clock, getting a couple of foul shots. I know what I'd rather do if I was trying to get scoring averages and points up and carry a team. So hopefully in the next 8 minutes, if you're a Gladstone fan, she can shoot the three if she's open, but she can get to the lane, come off an on-ball, put pressure on the defense, get layups, get foul shots, and keep the scoreboard ticking over for the Power.
Yeah, definitely. I wish we could see individual player points in the paint, because I reckon she'd have a stack of them, and that's where she does her best work. I mean, she's only shooting 2 from 8 from the three-point line at 25%, but she's shooting at 40% field goal average. So if she took a couple more inside shots, we'd see a much, much more competitive scoreline here than what we are at the moment, and Gladstone could perhaps be in front. But I think you're right. As we come into these kinds of semi-finals, it does come down to coaching, and hopefully Coach Ray Cooper, after the game today as well, does go to the girls. Look, there needs to be a better way of playing than just rushing three-point shots that we just don't need to take. A little bit of miscommunication there from the Brisbane Spartans as Nat Taylor turns it over. Richardson Smith just losing the ball in a backcourt violation as she tried to go for the crossover and got her pocket picked. So Brisbane Spartans once again with an opportunity to extend their lead a little bit further. They're up by 8. I think this is close to the biggest lead they've had all game.
Shamia Mellors is a trooper tonight. This thing just doesn't stop bleeding. Like, probably looks worse than it is. That, for anyone who can't see on the camera, it's just that little line right on your eyebrow. The skin is so thin there, and it bleeds so easily. But they just can't seem to get it to stop bleeding.
She'll be back on in no time at all. You're absolutely right. She is a trooper, that's for sure. She'll have a quick 30-second 1-minute break, and she'll sub back in straight away. Spartans not able to capitalise down their end of the court offensively. So we see Mellors already going straight to the bench for subs, I believe. You see a deep two-point attempt, no good, bouncing out from Sabritsky. Alicia Carline picking up another foul as well, so that'll be her 4th. Alicia Carline finding herself in foul trouble. And that's the one place that Gladstone really doesn't want to be at the moment, is getting their players onto 4 team fouls. I think they've got 4 players sitting on 3, and 3 players sitting on 3, and Alicia Carline now sitting on 4. The last thing they want in the last couple of minutes is to have multiple players on 4 and not being able to defend as strong as what they're going to need to. Alicia Carline comes down with a strong defensive board.
Oh, nice move.
Yeah, strong inside play from Kiriau, and this is what I've been saying about the Spartans as well. Their defense, from me personally, I don't think they have as strong a defensive game as what Gladstone does. Gladstone's done a really great job of preventing the Spartans from getting inside and scoring points on the inside. But you look at the way that Gladstone's playing, they've scored 32 points in the paint. So they're over 50% of their points have been scored inside, and they've done an absolutely amazing job at it as well. I think the Spartans I think they came in thinking that they were going to win this quite easily, and they haven't prepared their defense because they're just getting beat.
And Kathy Rochelle takes a seat with 4 fouls. She averages 16 points, 10 rebounds on the season. And tonight she's got 3 points and 6 boards. So Brisbane play this up-tempo style, so it's hard for a big to get involved like she ordinarily would, but I'm sure she's frustrated. She'll have to have a minute or 2 to herself here with those 4 fouls.
Yeah, we're coming in averaging that many points per game as well, and sitting on only 4 shots and 3 points. I mean, that would be absolutely frustrating, and especially when she would look around as well, and she would see some of the shot that Richardson Smith has taken. Be really disappointed that she's not having more of her own impact.
Oh no! Don't take her up. Just leave it. Just put the whistle away.
And unfortunately, that will be the end of the game as well for Alicia Carline. Like, I agree. I get it. I get that it's bad sportsmanship to bounce a ball like that, but in semi-final basketball with 5 minutes to go, she's frustrated. Let her have her vent. Warn her. She hasn't stepped out of line at all this game, not that I've seen anyway.
Yeah.
I don't think that was needed at all, because that's a huge impact on the game now with 5 minutes to go, as she'll be subbed out of the game for the rest of the game tonight. Especially when it means subbing Cassie Rochelle back in after she only just got subbed out for being on 4 fouls. So Cassie Rochelle's going to have to be very, very careful defensively, and I've commented on it quite a few times tonight as well. Gladstone's biggest advantage in this game is the way that they've played defensively and how strong they've been. They're going to have to start stepping back, because Cassie Rochelle's not going to want to pick up her 5th foul, and any of the other girls that are on 3 aren't going to want to get themselves in that position either.
Nice offensive tip, backhand.
And Alicia Carline was doing a great job on the glass as well, leading rebounder for Gladstone tonight. And Brisbane, we spoke at the half about how they're just unstoppable on the offensive board. With Carline out, that's going to make it a lot harder for them to control the backboard defensively if you're Gladstone. So they need to figure it out, or else Brisbane is going to go 0 boards and this lead could blow out a little bit. Yeah, well, as Rochelle shows a nice touch. We said in the first half, the jump shots are fine because she can make them. I would have hoped that they would have found ways to get her more opportunities tonight. But it's not too late. 4 minutes, they could get her going.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not over. 9 points in 4 minutes is easily done, especially with the way that we've seen Gladstone rack up some quick points, especially towards the end of that 3rd quarter. So this game is far from over. But we see Nat Taylor do everything in her power to try and definitively say this game is ours. What a 3-point shot at a crucial moment. 72-60. She extends the lead out to 12. I want to see Cassie Rochelle a little bit more aggressive as well. She got the ball there at the top of the 3-point line and didn't even look to do any kind of fake or any type of move. She just dished the ball out straight away and didn't really do anything about it. And she needs to be more aggressive if they're going to keep this game in their grasp. 12 points down, just under 4 minutes to go. She needs to get that ball and she needs to go to work. She needs to aggressively attack the basket. She needs to go at the defenders, and she really needs to find some form. So we've seen a timeout on the floor, so we're going to take a quick break as well. But we'll be back shortly with more semi-final action live from Roland Cowan Stadium, presented by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. And welcome back. 12 points of difference here, 72-60. Brisbane Spartans have managed to extend their lead out in the last couple of minutes here. Gladstone starting to find some trouble. Alicia Carline is out for the rest of the game, and she was, as you said, Dan, the leading rebounder for Gladstone coming into her getting fouled out. She was on 12. The next closest player in her team was only on 6, which is Cassie Rochelle. So I think if Gladstone's going to try and keep themselves in this game, Cassie Rochelle is really going to need to find some form, both defensively on the glass and offensively as well. Brisbane Spartans once again just answering everything Gladstone does on the board. Rebecca Haynes getting a nice little open jump shot for 2. Cassie Rochelle, nice little look there on the inside, just picking up the foul on Maddie Allen. But no one really in any kind of foul trouble from the Brisbane Spartans. They're sitting quite healthily. Both teams only 3 team fouls as well, so nothing too concerning there just at the moment. As Richardson Smith takes a long 3 out left, finds some form. Her 3-point shot is good, taking the lead back down to 9.
Tabitha Richardson Smith just reminds me of the kind of person that would just be playing basketball all day, every day. In the off-season, I reckon she'll be playing pickup anywhere there was a game on. Just looks like she has a swag and loves basketball. Needs to work on shot selection, but loves basketball.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, she's got some amazing form on the inside, and I'm kind of disappointed we haven't seen her go to work a little bit more on the inside in the paint, because she's had some amazing moves, driving down the middle of the court and getting those open buckets and splitting the defense. I mean, we've seen her hit a three-point now, but I think she's gone, of her last 5 three-point shots, I think she's only hit 1. So that shot selection definitely does need to get worked out a little bit, because she has taken 29 field goals in total tonight, so she's taken quite a lot.
And that's an offensive foul.
So we see an offensive foul being called against the Brisbane Spartans. I was busy looking at the stats when that happened, but that one goes against Cariatiana, so giving Gladstone another opportunity to get themselves back in the game. 2.5 minutes, 9-point difference, definitely doable from Gladstone. Was going to have to make the right decisions and get some quick points on the board. Nice inside look there for Cassie Rochelle. Just can't get the ball to roll in.
That was a great pass from Tabitha. Did exactly what we've been asking all night. Went to the rim, found her big. Cassie's got to make that.
Yeah, I think she just caught it. She just caught it in a little bit of a tough position and just rolled it across the very back of the rim. See Kalani Purcell's jump shot a little bit too short, but goes straight back to Nat Taylor. Her three-point shot also not good. They're really letting Gladstone keep in this game, missing some quite open shots. And foul getting called as well. That one also going against Cariatiana. That'll send her into her 4th personal foul as well. So she's finding herself in a little bit of foul trouble, and the 5th team foul to boot.
Tabitha Richardson-Smith will go to the free throw line.
And first free throw from Richardson-Smith is good. Lead back down to 6. Sorry, 10, if I can do math. And second is good as well. So lead back down to 9. Gladstone keeping themselves in this game. Minute and a half. It's looking unlikely for Gladstone, Dan, but they could still find themselves getting back into this game, especially when Brisbane Spartans are rushing their offensive plays and almost turning the ball over in situations like that.
Well, the game's not over, but Gladstone will need a lot of luck at this stage to pull off a win, and I think Brisbane are too good to give that to them. They don't need to score again, Brisbane. They just need to manage the clock, and even if they don't connect again, they've got enough points, but they do connect again, so they've got more than enough.
Yeah, 11 points, minute and a half to go. It's definitely going to be tough for Gladstone. Not too sure what happened there. That didn't look real clean to me either. But Gladstone just can't seem to find the back of the net at the moment. I do think it is going to be game over. 11 points and just over a minute to go, especially when we're coming down the far end of the court for Brisbane to take 2 free throws. But just looking up the lineup as well, Dan, something we didn't commentate on earlier. Gladstone clearly only has a very, very small team this year. They only had 8 players at the start of the year when we covered them in, I think it was round 4. And they've only got 7 players here tonight as well. So for them to do what they've done and end up in 5th position overall with a team of 7, 8 players maybe at best. I can't remember whether they have more players playing back up home. That's a very small roster to go on the road and still finish up in 5th position.
And that'll be Cassie Rochelle done for the season, unfortunately for her, but I agree. They should be proud of what they put together this year.
Yeah, we do see Cassie Rochelle sub out for the last time in the season. It is a 13-point lead now for Brisbane Spartans, and unfortunately it is becoming a bit of a repeat of the last time we came down here. Gladstone just finding themselves in that little bit of foul trouble and getting some of their key players fouled out. So both free throws there, good for Nat Taylor. As Gladstone, it goes to the bench for a timeout. So we'll take a quick last break, but we'll bring you the last couple of minutes here as we bring you more live semi-final action presented by Nothing But Net Media and Live Sport Australia. And welcome back. 1 minute 12 to go in this QBL semi-final between the Gladstone Port City Power and the Brisbane Spartans. It is 67-82. Brisbane Spartans getting themselves up by 15, but boy, has it taken them a lot of work to get there. Gladstone keeping in it for 3 and a little bit quarters before Brisbane really started to take it away.
And we did say at the start of the game that is oftentimes what happens with these good players, these good teams. You can hang with them for a couple of quarters, but class eventually rises above. And as predicted, that's what's happened. But I just hope that Gladstone can keep this close and not let the game get out to 20 points, because it just looks on paper like they got their butts kicked, and that's definitely not been the case. Gladstone's been very, very competitive.
Yeah, and realistically, it's all happened in this fourth quarter as well, because it has remained really competitive up until the last couple of minutes in particular. I mean, halftime, the game was scored. Going into the third quarter, it was only 6 points, so it's only now that it's extended out to this 18-point lead. And I mean, credit's got to go where credit's due. Gladstone has played a tough couple of quarters of basketball. So 39 seconds to go. I think Gladstone knows the game is over as their defense just slows down and lapses, and they let Brisbane Spartans go into the bucket.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I just, you don't want that to be your last shot of the season to go down like that.
Yeah, the game may be over, but you don't want to go out on a bad note, and taking silly shots like that is exactly right, Dan. It's not how you want to end the season. But 15 seconds to go. Brisbane Spartans are probably going to hold for the last shot of the game, and we are done. So the Brisbane Spartans will go into the grand final next week, which, if I just quickly check the out-of-bounds scoreboard, I do believe they'll be coming up against the Mackay Meteorettes. They were winning by about 13 points not too long ago, and that game is also done. Mackay Meteorettes 77, lead Logan Thunder 64 with about 40 seconds to go. So chances are Mackay Meteorettes are going to go into the grand final as well.
That is going to be a great final series. Tipping off here, I heard them announce earlier, 6 o'clock next Friday night, game 1. That'll be a great, at least 2 games, maybe 3. So come on down and check it out, or obviously our live stream will be up again, but that's going to be 2 great teams going at it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been a little bit of an unfortunate end to the game here, as Gladstone does end the game with 4 players. It's not the greatest way you want to see a semi-final end, but the Brisbane Spartans have done it. They've got themselves up by 22 points, and just about all of that was done in the fourth quarter here. Once my stats update, I believe they came in with a 32 to 16 point win in the fourth quarter. So Gladstone held themselves really, really strong and really did make Brisbane Spartans work for the win. Dan, before we wrap things up, what are some of your final thoughts about the game here tonight?
Well, let's give Gladstone a lot of respect and a lot of acknowledgement for the season they put together to get to the semi-final. I think it's an awesome effort. Some of the teams they've beaten who aren't here, the season's already over. At the start of the year, you wouldn't have picked that they would have been on top, but they are, and they deserve to be congratulated for what they put together. But Brisbane, undefeated through the regular season, undefeated through the first 2 rounds of the playoffs, home court advantage for a grand final. They are looking poised to bring a title back to Carina in their first year back in the QBL. So congratulations to them, and looking forward to next weekend.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, it was a great game here to cover. Gladstone really doing a lot of great things in the first 3 quarters. But with such a short bench, they did find themselves in a little bit of trouble in the fourth. But credit where credit's due. Tabitha Richardson-Smith really did have an incredible game. She did end up leading all scorers on 34 points. So to quickly run you through the stats, so first of all, for Gladstone, Tabitha Richardson-Smith ending on 34 points. Also managed to pull down only a handful of rebounds on 3, which you'd expect a little bit more from a big. Cassie Rochelle only managed to get 5 points away. She only took 6 shots on the night, but did pull down 7 boards. Alicia Carline, 8 points with pulling down 12 boards. So she led everyone on the game. And we also had Shamian Mellors scoring 9 points, pulling down 5 boards. So not a lot really happening on the defensive boards for Gladstone. Only pulled down 38 as a team against Brisbane Spartans 51. The one big stat that I really want to shout out is 36 points in the paint for Gladstone. An absolutely amazing effort in breaking Brisbane Spartans defense and getting themselves on the inside. Down the other end of the court, we've got Beck Haynes on 18 points. She also pulled down 8 rebounds as well. Nat Taylor, 10, pulling down 6 boards. Arya Paham pulling 14 points, but probably my MVP for the game, coming off the bench, is Ashley Cariatiana, scoring 27 points at a massive 50% and 66% from the 2-point line, 36 from the 3-point line, 100% from the field goal as well. Pulling 5 rebounds, but having an absolutely outstanding game. And that's not to be outdone by Kalani Purcell, also on 9 points as well. So an amazing effort from everyone in the Brisbane Spartans. A little bit slow to take off, but having an amazing fourth quarter and getting that 22-point win. But I think you're right, Dan, as well. The game next week it's going to be incredible. All 3 of them, I personally believe, is going to go to a 3-game series. I think Mackay has what it takes to give Brisbane Spartans their first loss of the season.
Well, we'll wait and see. And if there is a game 3 on Sunday, that'll be massive. But I don't know, it's hard to pick against someone that hasn't lost all year, and I think that those games will be super competitive. And like we said earlier, I think it's Michaela Cox. I was going to say Michelle Cox. The Cox in the backcourt for Mackay's quality, but then you've got Nadine Payne and Willie and Palvast and these girls up front. It's an awesome lineup. But equally, look at the Brisbane Spartans team with all the quality they've got, which we've been discussing for the last couple of hours. They're undefeated to this point. You can't really bet against someone that has never lost a game. You'd expect them, I think, to go 2-0 next weekend in 2 very tight games. But if we are lucky enough to get a third, it'll be a full house and it'll be great viewing. Yeah,
absolutely. I'd love to see it go to a 3-game series, and I don't want to put too much money on it because I don't actually know the statistic. I don't think we've ever seen a team go through the entire QBL season undefeated. So I really do hope that Mackay manages to get 1 game up so we do go to that 3rd game. But I think you're absolutely right. A team that's gone this far without getting defeated, they've got to go in as the favourites, and I do think Brisbane Spartans will probably come away with the series win. But if there's any team in the QBL that's going to be able to put Spartans away, I believe it's Mackay as well. So all 3 games next week, if we go to the 3rd, are going to be incredible. So first game will be 6 p.m. On Friday night here, and we will stream the whole 3-game series as well. So
awesome.
We'll wait to see you tune in, guys. Massive shout out, and if you haven't already, jump online and check out the statistics for the men's games as well. I think both of those games are still running at the minute, but we will see you next week for the Mackay versus Brisbane Spartans grand finals in a 3-game series. I've got to thank everyone that's helped me out here tonight. I've got Jacob up on the camera, Joel Baker working on the panel. I've been Regan Baker, and Dan George joining me as always in the commentary booth. All 4 of us will see you next week for the grand finals. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.